Hi Lolligay, what are you baking today?
I'm making some sourdough bread. So this is step 2 in making good sourdough bread at home. So I'm using a pre-ferment. This has been fermented for 12 hours on the counter in the kitchen. I did it overnight, it's the easy way to do it. It's a pre-ferment, so it's got flour and water and starter in it. It's 250 grams of flour. I've done a half and half bread here, so I've got 125 grams of strong white flour, and I've got 125 grams of strong whole wheat flour. I've got 50 grams of starter, and I'm also doing a 68% hydration, so that's 170 grams of water in there. So it's fermented. You see it's kind of bubbly, it's got a bit of sort of crusty kind of texture to it. You see there's lots of sort of air bubbles in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix that up with some water, the rest of the water. It's going to be a 500 gram loaf, so it's very important to use some scales here to stay precise. So I'm going to add 170 grams of water to that. All right, 170 grams. So this is very helpful to have, some kind of rubber spatula or implement that you can easily mix up dough and flour with without getting your hands completely sticky. Of course you can do this with your hands. I find that I don't want to have to wash my hands every 5 seconds, so I use a rubber spatula such as this one. So there's a fair amount of gluten built up in this, so it's going to take me a minute to break this down into the water. But what this does is it distributes your kind of yeast evenly throughout your bread dough, because you see this pre-ferment has all the nice sourdough yeast going in it, and also the lactic acid built up that gives that kind of sour flavour. So we're just incorporating it, trying to get this pre-ferment kind of loosened up so that it blends nicely with the addition of the flour that we're going to add next. Really doesn't really matter how you do this, as long as you just get a mix that sort of has a slightly even texture, not too many lumps in there. The water broken down some of the gluten strands. So see what we have here? We have a sort of goopiness where the water and the flours kind of come together. More like a batter. I'm going to add my flour to this. So I'm going to do what I've done with my pre-ferment. I'm sticking with a half and half loaf. So 125 grams of wheat flour, 120 grams of white flour, whole wheat and white flour. I'm going to put it back on the scales, set my scale back to 0, because then you know what you're doing. And rinse. That's our little helper. So, this is strong white bread flour. Doesn't really matter what you start with. So, 125 grams of white. 250. There we go. So we're going to loosely incorporate this, and then we're going to add the salt, just because salt does inhibit yeast activity. So we want to give the yeast a chance to sort of populate the flour before we add the salt. And then we're just stirring around with our spatula. Well, I'm stirring around with a spatula so that this bread dough comes together. It's a shaggy mess that gradually comes together to form a dough. And I'm just sort of doing sort of lift and fold movements with the spatula, kind of like what a dough hook would do in a mixer if you have one. You can do this in a mixer if you like. I like to do that by hand. I don't have a mixer anyway. So here we have a sort of loosely come together dough. This is when I'm going to add my salt, because the salt is going to tell us whether we've got an acceptable hydration level here. I'm going to put this back on the scale. I'm going to add, for a 500 gram loaf, yes, I add 9 grams of salt. Okay, and I use fine sea salt with no additives in it. I've done that. I'm just going to add a little dash of water to that, and I'm just going to continue with this mixing I was doing with the salt in there, and you'll see the salt sort of dries out dough somewhat, but it tells us how our sort of end product is going to be. Gives us a more accurate idea of if we want to add more water or not. See, the thing with the whole wheat, with having half whole wheat in this bread, sometimes that calls for more water, because whole wheat tends to take more water to get hydrated. But we'll just give it a few more stirs and see how it's feeling. Incorporate that salt in there. Wet dough, which is what I was going for. It doesn't look like your typical sort of pizza dough, you know, because that's not what you want if you're trying to make some kind of French style big holes crusty bread, which is what this is. It's not enriched dough, there's just flour, water, salt and yeast in it, so it will make a crusty French style bread. Okay, so that looks pretty even, right? So all you need to do at this point, because what we're going to do now is we're just going to let it start to grow a little bit before we do any kind of stretching and folding to build up the gluten. So now that I've done that, make sure this dough is evenly hydrated. I usually give it a scrape, put a little bit of water over the top, because you don't want your bread getting crusty as it ferments. So adding a little bit of water on the surface can kind of prevent that. Here it is, it's in its bowl. I'm just going to cover it with my trusty beeswax wrap and leave it for approximately 1 to 2 hours to give it a chance to grow, for the yeast to start activating in there. Then we'll do some stretch and folding.